Welcome to the Command Center podcast. I'm Logan Paulson here with Fred Smoot and Santana Moss. And Santana Moss always with the great fit. You have a very good fit. You have a very good style, but Tana's just like.
Well, Tanner more edgy than I am when it comes to I'm more conservative. Like he like color because he's from Miami, so he like bright color.
It's a nice sweater.
Because I mean, I love Marvel and stuff, so it reminds me of Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know,
dude. Yes,
that's what I'm talking about.
I think this came out around that time.
Yeah,
I think it's part of it.
But like, see, could you imagine if I came in with that on? Like, I'd just be getting crushed.
First of all, we still getting used to seeing you with J's on. So we
Thank you, by the way. That's very kind of you.
We just proud to see you like stylish for it.
And for all those fans out there that think I'm giving Fred a hard time, just know this.
Amen.
I love Fred. I love Tana. Fred gives it, trust me, as good as he gets. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you see on the show, he's just giving it to everybody.
He even give it to Fred the way he give it to others.
But it's all. But I will say, in Fred's defense, it's all in good fun.
Yeah, it's all in good fun.
And we all know it's a good fun. But we want you guys to know,
fans, y'all have the right point of view. Logan is a and he gives it to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's fair enough. All right, we got that Bet365 read floating around here somewhere, Jason.
Yeah, why not? Pay the bills, my friend.
Yeah, we got to pay this bill, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you got to pay this.
So while Jason's getting that set up, dude, I'm liking this sweater.
Yeah. See,
it's not a sweater; it's a long sleeve shirt.
No, it's a sweater.
Oh, okay. Well.
It's what you call a mid sweater. That's it ain't thick,
but it shows off the muscles.
Yeah. So,
dog, I'm always impressed with him. Yeah. Like, he looks low key jacked right now.
Yeah.
But like in that basketball game, like I thought you'd be able to like. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
It's a faux fitness.
I was the first person that said that. When we played, it didn't look nothing like
faux
that.
Fitness?
Now,
it's a faux fitness.
But I think I shocked you. I was stronger than you thought I was.
You were stronger than I thought. Your arms were crazy long. It was literally like we ran 2 possessions, and it was like, I need to take a break.
He was done.
But hey, we're going to do it again. You're going to get in shape.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. All right. Just a reminder, we are brought to you by Bet365. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe every sport should be epic. Right now, customers can choose between 2 offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the QR code to sign up. Deposit $10 and choose between either. First bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000. If your qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund in bonus bets, or bet and get offer and place a bet of 5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365, official sports betting partner of the Washington Commanders.
Must be 21 plus. Physically located in Virginia. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know have a gambling problem and want help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambler. Mm-hmm. All right, so we have some very exciting news to discuss.
Gotta love exciting news.
Exciting news, right, guys?
Yep.
We got Adam Peters signing on to be the GM of the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty fantastic for a bunch of reasons, but let's open the floor up and we'll all get to our perspectives. Tana, let's start with Tana because we always start with Fred.
Yep.
What is the most exciting thing to you about this hire?
To me, I just think his upbringing when it comes to in this game, 21 plus years of football, professional football, being in winning organizations, around those players, that environment. So I guess the culture, you can say, and bringing that here. I mean, we talk so much about going and getting these players that played in Super Bowls, but we never, talk about how important it is to get the guys that
got the players,
that built the Super Bowl team. And we can say we have a guy that saw it happen in different places.
Yep. In
New England, in Denver, and then he also went to one with San Fran, right?
And they're close.
Went a couple of years ago, right? They went and lost 3-4 years ago, right? So, and probably potentially going back this year. Who knows? Yeah. But just
really
you can see how
team.
You can see how they're built for success year in and year out. So it's just great to have a guy that's been around it and know what it takes. And now he's here with us. So and we know how in dire need we are in when it comes to just having that foundation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I am happy because we are no longer paying the loser's tax. Yeah. For so long.
No, that's a great
point.
For
the last 20 years, we've been paying the loser tax to get like top of anything. Mm-hmm. And we got the cream of the crop. Everybody was after this guy. Yeah. Not just us. Everybody was after this guy. And we stood in from the door, pointed out who we want, negotiated with who we want, and what made me feel real good, he wanted to be here.
Yeah.
See, that's when you ain't paying loser tax no more. Usually, you have to give him this plus something else. He wants to be here. He wants to build his team. And he intimately knows this roster because, don't forget, he just traded for Chase Young at the end of the year. Like, he's looked at this roster. He's seen what's already here. And I'm sure in his head, he like, all I need to do is get this, this, and this. And we can get this thing off and running. And I know as he looks at those draft picks, he just slobbering at the mouth. And I know as he look at this $60 to $90 million, I can reshape this in my image.
Yeah.
See, if you was giving me this job with $10 million of cap space and the 22nd pick, I can't really put my identity on this team for 3 years. I need draft pick after draft pick after draft pick, free agent. He can change it this year to look and feel how he wants it to feel. That got me excited.
Yeah, I was talking to a bunch of people around the league kind of after he got hired, and a couple things about him. One, a lot of people feel like he's one of the best talent evaluators in the NFL.
Yep.
And I think that's important. You've always talked about when you're going shopping for groceries, who's buying the groceries.
Yeah.
This guy has an eye for it, which I think is fantastic. But the one thing that came up consistently in relation to that talent evaluation was everyone kept saying he knows how to work so well with the scheme and what the coach is trying to impart here.
And that's very important.
No.
If you don't get along, you get it wrong.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that sticks out to me is like looking at his background. Tanner, you alluded to this a little bit already, but he spent 8 seasons with the Broncos, regional scout, national scout, assistant director of college scouting, kind of moved up that ladder. When he's in New England, right?
Yep.
Handled pro scouting, like basically an intern in 2005, and then area scout, which is a big deal, right? You're out on the boots on the ground, meeting, doing the gritty scouting. And I think the thing I like about this is it's every 2 years he's seeing a progression, right? So obviously very, very talented guy in that space. And then obviously like I played under him or like on a team that he had helped build in 2017, his first year with the 49ers. And one thing that sticks out to me is just a really personable human being. Yeah. Very kind dude.
Which most of those guys aren't.
No.
They're more robotic and stay in your lane, son, and I stay in mine. I like that he's inclusive like that.
I mean, and then some of those guys you got to think because I've been on teams where we had our guy here. My first couple of years when you left, Vinny Serrato. Vinny was personal.
I love Vinny.
Vinny would call you and say, "Let's go have a
bottle of wine." Come on.
Then you get other guys that come in here and you don't see them. And it's almost like walking by them was like, egg shells or egg cartons. So you want to kind of not have to cross their path. So it's great to have a guy that's going to be personable because you need that guy to be saying, okay, this is what I want. This is what I expect when we bring you in here. And then you want to see that, through those white lines. And I think that's going to be the start of us trying to build that kind of, foundation for this team. Yeah,
and I think that's a great point. I think also like the relationship he has with agents, the respect he shows players. Like, again, he makes hard decisions. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's a pushover. He makes hard decisions, but he treats players, he treats agents, he treats everybody with respect. And I think it makes for a better working relationship in that kind of dark curtain, the behind the veil stuff of the NFL, the business side of the NFL. All right, let's talk this. I think this is a really good question. Jason, the producer, put this on the sheet. What are the 3 things that he needs to do right away to kind of set the foundation here?
Right away.
Yes, and
he has to hit on these draft picks.
Let me just slow you down. Like, is it even that, or is it the coach?
I was gonna say to me, it's the.
Sorry to interrupt.
To me, and I know because Fred is, he's he got an encyclopedia up there. He gonna have a lot of stuff to say. So let me get mine out. Me personally, I believe it's finding that coach. Yeah. And then, like I said before, I alluded to earlier, I want to see the other guys. He's the puppet master. So it's other folks
he pulling the screens
that he's going to work with that's going to be doing some of the work that he was doing when he was the assistant and when he was the scout. So it's those other people that's going to make up that team that's going to get these players so we can get the right kind of people in. So to me, those are the first 2 things that he's probably going to do.
Well, I was saying the draft because I feel like the pool of coaches we picking from is so finite, so small,
right.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of room for error there. I just think when you're scouting 3,000 players to get the right one, especially in your first draft, like I said, he has the ability to change this team and make it into his identity in one season. That's unheard of with most rosters.
Sure.
So I think the roster turnover, and that's through free agency, through the draft. I think that's how people gonna judge him because the coaches coach and the GM picks.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna get a coach all his props for getting him on the field to win. But if he picks the right players, they're going to get him the props for bringing in the right groceries.
Yeah, so I'll say this. Scott Pioli did the Craig Hoffman show this week on the radio station. He said that, one thing that he hopes that Adam learned when he was in New England is that it's a coach-led team. And so what I mean by that is that, like, the coach is the guy, like to Tana's point, who's, they are hiring the coaches under them, the assistant coaches, the offensive coordinator, all that kind of thing. They're establishing the team identity, and it's your job to have a good enough working relationship with that individual to build what they want and to build what you want together. And again, it's easy to do this because he was just in San Francisco. But look at San Fran. Look at that roster. It is a tough, competitive roster that values very specific things. Like Deebo Samuel's a second-round pick, right? You get George Kittle in the 5th round, right? You've done a good job in free agency, bringing in Christian McCaffrey, right? That at the time I thought that was the craziest thing, but the coach had a vision
and understood
how to use that player, right? And just like they know how to use George Kittle, right? All of those things are so important. So to me, I think I probably would lean toward Tana here. Is get the coach, establish that dual vision, that relationship, that unified vision of where this thing is going, right? And then I think then the draft becomes easier. Then the free agency becomes easier.
See, I think it's the other way because I think great players make average coaches look great.
That's a great point.
So the one thing about it, everybody like to bring up Deebo. What about the Fred Warners that this guy has found who came into the league as an outside linebacker? They made a middle linebacker. Greenlaw, like Tufunga, the safety. This guy Ward, this guy does it over and over. So it makes it, I like a GM that say, you know what? Here go the players. I'm gonna make it hard for you not to be successful. Now you're gonna have to go out your way not to be successful.
That's cool, but I think with most guys, especially a guy who's getting to do this from the start, he will want, if it's possible, if the guy that he's looking for is available, is not still in the playoffs, I would think he will want that coach to be here though, so he can have a chance to say, let's us converse on what players that we think
let's come up with a plan,
fit this scheme. You know what I mean? Fit what you're trying to do. Because don't get me wrong, a lot of coaches come into organizations and inherits what's here. That's not necessarily meaning that they can go out there and just be themselves or coach these guys to be what they want them to be. So it'd be great if I'm a new GM and I get that. Cause we get a new head coach, I bring this guy in, and we can hit it off running with our guys. Not just my guys, our guys. And I think that's big.
And I like the fact that he don't have to do a lot of cutting on this roster. It's just because, come on, we probably got 30 guys, 25 guys on this roster because of free agency.
20-something, 27.
But I also think, just to kind of keep this conversation going for a second longer, the idea of this culture and, like, what is our unifying message, right? And, like, where is the roster at and what can we tolerate? Those are all things that need to be decided with that coach. And so, like, you mentioned the players. Like, if I'm drafting Fred Warner, he's converting from star, which in college is like that kind of overhang, safety, linebacker type spot, rover. That's a good way to describe it. Do I have the coach on staff? Is my linebacker coach, does he like him? Is he equipped enough from a coaching standpoint to make sure that he can play that middle linebacker spot?
Transition.
Because if I don't have the coach, I can't make that pick, right? If the coach doesn't have a vision for him and I don't see the talent, like, I'm not going to draft that guy,
can't do the Diablo pick. You can't do that.
And I know, like, I've talked to Kyle, Tana's talked to Kyle quite a bit. I know he has a very specific vision for what he wants from the receiver position. And I don't think it's an accident that the receivers in San Fran very closely resemble that vision. They are tough, they're physical, they have great change of direction and route running nuance, right? But that's me working with the GM, to say, I like this in this player. Find me these guys.
They all good after the catch. They are very good after the catch.
And so I think that's kind of where, like, again, I probably lean that coach, because again, it's you can't get the culture going, without that other piece to that equation. And so once that's established, I think then obviously the personnel decisions become the thing, right? And we're going to talk a lot about that in the podcast on Thursday, right? Is that next podcast coming up? Next week's podcast. Sorry, that's where the scheduling is not my forte. But just in the meantime, as a reminder, we're brought to you by Bet365. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe every sport should be epic. That's why we offer an NFL early payout offer. Get your straight bets paid out or early parlay selections marked as winner when your team goes up by 17 points, regardless of whether the opponent comes back to win the game. Our NFL early payout offer has hit over 52 times this season. Use the QR code to sign up and see for yourself why it's never ordinary. Bet365, official sports betting partner of the Washington Commanders.
Must be 21 and older and physically located in Virginia. Please gamble responsibly. And if you and someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So it's hit over 52 times this season, Fred, but that number's been the same since we got that read.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's been
all right, so it got to be up to like 152 times right now.
Hopefully it's increased quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right, so we just talked about how important the coaching hire is, and Fred talked about how, and I just want to double click on that because you brought up something I think is really important. Mm-hmm. When you watch these playoff games, which we're going to review here in a minute, not only are they well coached, but they all got dogs, man.
Yeah.
They all can hunt. So it is important. It's kind of chicken or the egg, but I think the identity establishing is so important. So that's why we're going to talk about head coaching searches for the team, for this team, and for the NFL in general, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to play kind of a game here, okay? So we're going to say these are the head coaching vacancies.
It's like a dating game.
Yes, like a dating
matchmaker.
game. Matchmaker, that's right. So here are the head coaching vacancies, and then these are the potential head coaching candidates that outside sources have reported, and we're going to try and match them with the best available job. So just to review, the available jobs are the Atlanta Falcons, Seattle Seahawks, Tennessee, Las Vegas, LA Chargers, Carolina, Washington, and then potentially, nothing's final yet, but we are recording this on Tuesday, so something could happen easily.
Yeah.
Philly and Dallas, right?
All right.
And the available coaches, as reported by Adam Schefter and some other people, Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, Ben Johnson, Dan Quinn, Bobby Slowick, Brian Flores, Mike McDonald, Frank Smith. So I think we should go through and try to pair these young boys up real quick.
I got you.
So let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. And I think this job is super interesting because they
got talent.
They are very talented. They are a quarterback away. They've been a quarterback away.
Yeah.
Who is the coach that gets Arthur Blank and this team to the promised land?
Bobby Slowick.
Really? I'm so surprised by that. I think we should all give our opinion, then we go back and we kind of.
I'm going Bobby Slowick because they need a youth infusion of play calling. They when we played them this year, they just run, throw if we got to.
Yeah.
You got Kyle Pitts. You got Kyle Pitts. You got Bijan Robinson. You got Drake London. You got problem makers. All right, so I think putting an offensive mind like this with him, Slowick, I think it works in Atlanta.
Yeah, what you got?
I say in Atlanta, I'm on a limb right here, but a Belichick.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
I think, just with the owner.
No quarterback?
Look.
That gets me with him.
Yeah. I just know far as for what they need to do defensively. I think they have quarterbacks. I think they have some guys that he can mold to be the kind of quarterback they need. I like the young kid who they was up and down with last year, Reddit. And you got your boy Heineke there, man, as a backup. You know what I mean? He there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But I truly believe that defensively, Belichick will probably put his imprint, and that's what I believe that Atlanta got to get back to. I remember them a few years, like my later years playing, their defense was known to be one of those top defenses, and I think that's where they got away from right now.
Y'all ain't gonna like where I put Belichick at.
Well, here, hold up. Let me give my opinion real quick, okay? So I would say Atlanta is the perfect team. The perfect team, and given the fact that his college quarterback has just entered the draft, is Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh would do great there. They are a run-first team. They're built to run the ball first. He understands how to maximize playmakers. What's the dude from Michigan? What's the quarterback's name?
J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy just declared for the draft. He's probably the 5th or 6th quarterback.
He stinks.
But Harbaugh loves him. And talk about managing a system from college to the NFL. Like culturally, they to me are a perfect match for him. And you said Bobby Slowick, which I don't hate.
Yeah.
But if I'm Tennessee, I'm making a full court press for Bobby Slowick.
I totally understand.
I've got a young quarterback, and we got to get some offensive playmakers, no doubt. We got to increase the offensive line. But Bobby has shown an ability to insulate the offensive line, protect that offensive line, and maximize playmakers given the right mixing, right?
Yeah.
And this draft right now, super wide receiver heavy. So I'm saying Harbaugh is probably, if he's taking a job, it's probably the Atlanta job. And if I'm Bobby, Like, if I'm Tennessee, I don't know if Bobby wants this job, but if I'm Tennessee, I'm like,
Tennessee, you got to go offensive.
Slow it all day, because Will Levis showed me something, man.
No. And you know I was low on Will Levis when he came out, but he had proved me wrong. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. I'm always good with saying I was wrong.
Yeah, so what do you think? What do you want, Atlanta? I believe Harbaugh. 100%.
I think my slow it pick is the better pick.
But I'm saying, like, I think he's a better fit for Tennessee, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no problem. I don't agree with that. Disagree with you.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Tanner, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Or do you really want to go Belichick there?
What, for Atlanta?
Yeah.
Nah, I just feel like, for out of all these guys right here, I didn't see no other guy. But I truly believe that, Belichick would probably fit just that, that style of play where they're trying to get back to defensively.
Okay, next one. All right, so Seattle. Seattle's interesting to me.
Dan Quinn.
Got
his name written all over.
Dan Quinn, it's like he was like probably at the game.
Probably, yes.
On Sunday, he was just like, all right,
I'm headed to Seattle soon. It don't matter to me. Like, it looks like Dan Quinn been the head coach for 3 weeks already, and we didn't know it. It fits him so well because those cornerbacks. Come on, he got Woodland. He got Witherspoon. He got Jamal Adams. Listen, the things that Dan Quinn would do with this team is unbelievable. The question is, would he love Geno? Because I think he'll go out to him another quarterback to get him started.
Yeah. So I think that's
with him with that one.
That feels like 100%.
Yeah, it feels like he already got the job.
That was like a
layup. Yeah, that was the easiest one. Tennessee, I already said what mine was.
You said Slowick, right?
Yeah, I said Slowick.
I would go.
It's a tough one now. Mike Vrabel is who I'd go with, but they just fired him.
I go Frank Smith.
Ooh, I like that one a lot.
Listen, I
like that one a lot.
Because they known to just hire people with regular names. I want to introduce y'all to Frank Smith.
So Frank Smith, I love that hire. Offensive mind.
Yeah.
Best offense in the NFL. He's the OC. He doesn't call plays, but he's the OC for the Miami Dolphins.
He has the DNA.
And also in that NFLPA poll, right, that they just put out about.
He was number one, right?
He was number one. He was number one, and Brian Flores was number two. But I think we both agree. Not Brian Flores. Who's the DC?
No, DC for Detroit.
Yes. What's his name?
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn. Thank you. Number two. Yep. So obviously, I think he would be excellent there. But I think we both agree. Tanner, do you agree? Offensive hire there for Tennessee?
Frank Smith is good. I was going to say Brian Flores.
But I think they just went defense with Vrabel. So I think they did just now they like we got Will Levis.
To me, it's the young quarterback.
Offense.
Yeah, it's a young quarterback there. You got to make sure he develops.
No Derrick Henry finna be there.
Ooh, that's a tough job, man. It's a tough job.
Just knowing that you're gonna. I'm not big in the whole. Because we had defensive coordinator or defensive-minded head coach last time that I wouldn't go defensive-minded coach.
I think that's a great point, though. I'm
just like, man, who's going to lead these dudes? You know what I mean? Who's going to be?
It's a fantastic point.
Who's going to give me the right kind of team? And I think Flores needs some kind of recognition for what he did.
He's been great.
Well, I heard Tennessee owner speak, and she was very like through why she got rid of Vrabel and what she want to do. And she was like, we want to go in another direction. So in my head, that another direction was, I want offensive minded.
But I'm really glad Tanner brought that up because I think it's important for us to remember when we're talking about the potential filling the coaching vacancy here is it's not so much about necessarily offense, defense, X's and O's. It's about leadership, right? Yeah. And so everyone talks about, well, look at Sean McVay, look at Kyle Shanahan, look how successful they've been. Look at the guy in Minnesota, who I always forget his name. Yeah, O'Connell, like what he's done there. McDaniels, but those guys, they're brilliant football guys, but they also are authentic to themselves, and they relate well to the guys.
And they communicate differently.
And they relate well to the guys, and it's just different styles of communication. But yeah, I think offensive guy there, probably Las Vegas. What do we got?
I got Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce on this list?
Nope, but I'm going to stick with him.
Yeah,
Antonio Pierce. That's my only.
Have they said anything about that?
No, and see, I think the only reason they're doing it because they got to do interviews. They have to do interviews because they don't got the contract that what's his name had Mayo, and what's his name they had ran that through the NFLPA for a year that he was set up by contract to step in when Coach Belichick retired. So now the Raiders have to go through this, but I know for a fact the Raiders are still paying John Gruden.
Yeah,
the Raiders are still playing. Who was just the coach there?
Yeah, your boy.
McDaniels. And they're not, and they still paying $100 million to Gruden. I just feel like they didn't got the cash to go out to a Jim Harbaugh.
Somebody young, somebody who's been there in the building, he basically rallied that team that was left for dead, basically. You know what I mean?
Everybody gave up on him.
I'm with you with that AP. I know he's on our sheet, but I was looking at it like, damn, we ain't got the guy who's there already. But Yeah, AP.
Yeah, so I'd say
he fits that mold.
I'd say I agree. AP seems like the natural fit. Brian Flores is a good candidate here. Mike Vrabel, to me, too, a guy with a strong culture.
And Tom Brady's part of the ownership group.
Yeah, I think those would be interesting there for Las Vegas. Again, I agree. AP, I think, deserves a shot after this year, but with Mike Vrabel out there, Brian Flores, I think that feels like a good job
this
for
is
them.
a hard year to be an up-and-coming coach.
Oh,
with all of these Hall of Famers out here, it's, boy, I tell you, like, even if
you know what's funny, though? Because you can be sitting there, you could be a team that said, I'm looking for a head coach, but I got to pick from a guy who just went through a losing season somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So what makes him right for you?
It's the fresh start. The fresh start.
No, I get it, because we as players have those same things. You know, you want a fresh start. You know, you want to kind of reboot, refresh. But I'm laughing when the guy's like, well, we need to get rid of, McCarthy and bring in this guy. And I'm like,
didn't he win more games? Didn't McCarthy win more games?
won more games than he did here. So why would you lose?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know, man.
Everybody wants different.
Yeah.
Nobody wants what they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
You like it, I love it.
So the LA Chargers, to me, this is maybe the worst job. Like, if I'm a coach.
Why? Because you the second fiddle to the Rams?
No, well, yeah, that's part of it. But you're in cap hell. You don't have a good first round pick. Your defense is a mess right now. There's a lot of roster cleanup and overhaul that needs to happen, but you don't have a lot of tools to get it done. And everyone says Justin Herbert, and I think Justin Herbert's a dude. But I got to give him some pieces, and they're just like
Allen is getting old.
Allen's this last year of his contract needs to restructure. Mike Williams is always hurt. They just drafted Quentin Johnson, who didn't play very well. The tight end's walking in free agency. The running back's leaving in free agency. Like that, this job to me is total fool's gold.
Khalil Mack is still making dollars on your team.
Yeah, so to me, this is a job that I don't want to really give to anybody because I think it's a rough job. But I don't even know what kind of guy you'd go here. I mean, maybe like you just
might be Jim
Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh.
Maybe.
No, Harbaugh is their first pick right here.
I mean,
because they want a culture builder.
They got to back up the brink structure.
I would say they're gonna have to break up that money.
Bring up the truck, but I think he can
fix it.
Yeah, he can fix.
You think Belichick would take this job? Talking about culture.
Yes.
He'll so?
He'll take it because of Herbert.
Belichick in L.A. though.
Yeah. Man, Belichick looser than y'all think.
Yeah, we know that. We seen the ring cam.
He looser than you think. Like I think for him to ride into the sunset, because come on, let's be honest. He wants these 15 wins, so he become the all-time winningest coach all time. But he would rather walk off with a ring.
Yeah.
So what matters to him is quarterback everything first, because he feel like he can dial up a defense. He can put that together.
Yeah.
But if he got a Herbert on his team,
that's a good point.
He accelerates very quickly. Like that's why I say I don't put him in Atlanta, because he got to find this guy. He ain't got all that time to be doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I just wonder if there's enough stuff there.
No, but that's why I say you're going to love Will. I didn't pick him for this job. I picked him for Dallas. Because Dallas is ready, man.
He's ready to go.
He just hey, put it in the microwave, heat it up, and let's go.
Yeah, make sure you got, yeah. So Chargers is Harbaugh maybe. I'm trying to look at this list. Anybody else that would do it?
Ben Johnson?
Ben Johnson.
I don't want Ben Johnson going nowhere but here.
Well, I want Harbaugh, so we torn right there.
Dude, but I think Harbaugh is excellent. Like he's going to win you some games now. It's just about.
And they're going to be physical. Listen to me. Physical, smart. Won't hurt themselves.
Fred's geeked right now.
No, listen to me. Think about this.
No, I'm with you, dude. You don't have to sell me on it.
For the next 4 years, he knows everybody in college. So his drafts, working with our guy, it's going to be perfect, because he's going to be like, recruited him, know him, seen him get better for 4 years. He will have an eye on the draft that none of these coaches have.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he's got that reputation of being a little bit. What's the word? Standoffish, maybe?
No, kind of do stuff his way.
Yeah,
and I'm fine with that.
No, but I think I just think about the guy they just hired.
Yeah,
wants to be really collaborative.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be. I'm sure he doesn't want to be dictated to, and he doesn't want to have to dictate to somebody else. He wants a collaborative effort. Yeah, and I'm not sure Harbaugh.
I think Harbaugh.
He learned from his mistakes. Come on, I always give people the benefit of the doubt.
But I don't think he operate that way. I think he wants to
run the ship. And so I think LA, to Tana's point, they would give him that.
Yeah,
because they just
that's the loser tax. See, we're not paying the loser tax no more.
Yeah.
We're not. We're just not into it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's a tough job. Carolina also.
Nobody wants the job.
Really tough job, because again,
it seemed like us a couple of years.
Tepper is.
Listen. Who do I want to send to coaching to the coaching abyss?
Someone you hate.
Somebody I don't really.
Who's your worst enemy?
No,
Logan Paulson to the.
Yeah, why Logan should be assistant head coach. I'm trying to see who would be like, you know what? It's one of 32 jobs. I'm not turning it down.
I see what you're saying.
Brian Flores would be the guy to take that job.
You think so?
I
think
just want a job. I just want a job.
See, a guy like
he's
Brian
too smart
Flores
for
would get that kind of job, though. They would give him that job before they give him anything else because they said if things mess up, then it's on him.
It's on him.
Just like the Miami game.
Throw him under the bus.
The Miami game was the same way.
Don't take that job.
Yeah. No, but guess what? If you want the one of 32, you got to take what's available.
I guess that's true.
I wouldn't.
I think a coach I'd like to see there, honestly, like if Tepper wasn't a thing, is like Vrabel. Like I'd like to see that strong personality there with a young.
He might be the person strong enough to tear down.
Yeah.
Tear down what's going on down there.
But again, like he's not going to take that job.
He will.
He won't do that.
Will.
You think so?
He's a football guy.
He's one of them kind of dudes, though. Vrabel coaches like he's still playing.
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? I watch this dude. I'm like, bro, it's just like about to go in the game and catch that damn Super Bowl touchdown pass. Like that tight end pop pass.
Yeah.
Like he has that same mentality. And like I played against him. And so I remember him being that same guy. And when I watch him play, you can see how those players navigate to everything he says. You know what I mean? They basically, he leads them to go to what he wants these guys to go out there and do. So
and then he look like he got the doctor's complex.
He can be that guy in Carolina to kind of.
He look like he look at stuff and say, I can fix it.
Yeah.
He looked like one of those dudes to say, you know what, it ain't as bad as you think.
That's why I like him there, honestly, because I think that defense is pretty good. I think they're a couple pieces away offensively. I think they got a good offensive line.
They got to get some wide receivers. I'm sorry.
They do, but I don't. But the thing that I just could you imagine Mike Vrabel and Tepper like in a meeting together?
That's what you want.
But I'm saying like
nobody else would stand up to this billionaire. Like this dude would be like, hey,
but that's what I'm saying.
I've been around billionaires my whole life.
You want a mother MF? You want 2 MFs. He one of them is already considered one, and then you got to bring a guy now who has that what you call it, that no nonsense
that intestinable fortitude.
That no nonsense approach.
And then so let's go Washington. I think we're all going to say Ben Johnson here.
Brian Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Ben, I go Jim.
Brian.
And again, I like Harbaugh for this job a lot. I think Harbaugh's an excellent coach. Like his resume, we're talking about Peter's resume earlier. Harbaugh's resume is insane.
Yeah.
He won at the D2 level, won at Stanford when nobody
wins at Stanford.
No one thought you could win at Stanford. He righted the ship in San Francisco. Like that was
the Super Bowl.
He went to the Super Bowl. Then he goes to Michigan, and nobody thought he could do anything there. He couldn't recruit Ohio State. He couldn't recruit in the Big Ten.
All.
He did it. He won a national championship. His resume is awesome. He's got a shelf life of about 5 years,
and I'm fine with it.
And I'm okay with that, but also I want to say I want to say this though too. That I think that personality it just doesn't feel like it fits here with what they're trying to do with Peters. I think Ben Johnson comes from a tough culture in Detroit. Watch them run the football, man.
I just don't know.
Watch them run the pill.
I know for a fact he can call plays.
Yeah.
I know
I'm with you.
He's there. I just don't know, can he lead me in? That's always the question.
But you got to also understand that's what I've always harped on when it comes to. I don't necessarily need my head coach to be the leader because the head coach don't really coaches us all the time. He basically just lines everything up for the team. I need the coordinator because I'm going to talk to the coordinator more than I talk to the head coach.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see the head coach when he break us down in the beginning and break us down in the end. And then on night before the game, he tell us what we got to go out and do. But more than anything, that coordinator and your individual coach is who you're going to really abide to. You know what I mean? You got to abide by what they say. So if you get a guy that's capable of, okay, he can be a head coach and your OC, then all you got to do is go get somebody to lead the defense. And that's what we need, somebody to lead more than anything.
Is the head coach, your OC, and the leader of the team. Like, I need somebody to have a post on the team. We just had this with Coach Rivera where he wasn't very hands-on as a defensive guy until he had to be.
I understand what you're saying there about Jim, but we already went over the whole thing is when we have Adam Peters in here right now, you want that guy that's going to be able to see eye to eye and they be able to build this thing.
I can't say he won't be able to see eye.
We don't know that, but we know Jim has always had control. You know what I mean? He seems like a guy that wants control. You know, who's better than us?
Who got it better than us?
Nobody.
I can't wait to say that. I hope so.
Yeah. All right. So last one, Dallas. If it is a vacancy, right, which we're kind of working through right now.
Who knows?
Bill.
That's crazy.
Dollar Bill.
Feels like Dollar Bill. Feels like Dollar Bill.
Hey,
feels like Jerry Jones is gonna be like, hey, I want to win a Super Bowl. Let's make this happen right now. Who's done that the most?
Yes.
Bill Belichick. Let's get that man in here.
Yes.
I don't see them two.
And guess what?
They're going to hate each other.
But you know what? You know what?
It'll work.
It can work. You know why? Because I just want to say that.
Dude, but I also think
Belichick don't like to talk to the media.
And guess who do?
And Jerry Jones will.
Jerry Jones stay right in there, baby.
Absolutely right.
I got this bill.
I just thought about that.
But no kidding though. I think this is a good job for Harbaugh also. Like again, I have a lot of respect for Harbaugh, but I think I
just don't want to see him on that other side.
But if Jerry wants to win, he's gonna write a check for a boatload of money, and be like, all right, let's make it happen.
If I see those khakis on that sideline in Dallas
with them bifocals,
I'm gonna pass out.
All right, I think that's going to do it for the coaching segment. Hopefully we've answered all your coaching questions. That was kind of a fun game. I really enjoyed that.
Matchmakers.
Now we're moving on to our next segment, and that is the NFL Playoff Breakdown. And this segment, is brought to you by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. Stop searching, go Northwest. Check out nwfcu.org/Washington to see how easy it is to join and how Northwest can help make your money work for you. Stop by a branch or visit nwfcu.org/Washington today. Still waiting on that call from them to set up that, live and in-person meet at the branch.
And don't how about just feel like a commander-in-chief?
I mean, I like Harbaugh, but I think I agree with Tana's point. Like, I agree with Tana. You're on the out here.
Hey, listen, what you agree with Tana every time we have a conversation.
I just agree with
you. The reason why it's division on this thing.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so we're going to review the playoff games here real quick, and I think one, I'd like to just talk about it high level, but also like what the Commanders, who are going to be building a team and building a roster, can learn from this. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Dallas and Philly bounced unmercifully.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, what do we got?
Philly, we seen it coming. I mean,
they was letting us
play
it's
so crazy. It's not even that. I told someone the other day I was watching it, and I'm like, when I saw how bad we struggled, this year, and then seeing the two games played against Philly, how we went toe-to-toe.
Yeah, what I said,
I was like, how long can this last with what they're doing? Because obviously it's going to be other teams that's watching us, it's watching other teams that have competed against them that's going to go in there and say, we have the remedy to, put these guys out of their misery. And it just happened. The last, they was 6 for 7. Lost 6 out of the last 7.
Yeah, they did.
So that shows
started 10-1.
Start 10-1 and someone put a pin in them.
Both assistant coaches gone.
But not even that. You go and make a defensive coordinator change or switch in the middle of the season like that.
Matt Patricia.
Oh my God, like that. I mean, they was. You got to look at the situation like this. If we was getting by with that D coordinator that we had there first, let's make it to the end. We winning games. To me, I think that change alone
to learn the whole defense in the middle of the year, to learn a new defense.
It was the same defense, just to be clear.
But this changed some things about it.
I talked to Slay. And
what did he say?
Slay said they had to learn a new defense because Matt Patricia didn't want to run with the.
But they were still like cover 3 base.
He said the language was the same.
No, the language was the same.
The language was the same, but they started to lean more man to man and do different stuff.
That's a weird deal.
Yeah, so now
I didn't realize it was that.
I do this half of the year, and now you want me to do this? Yeah, and then you bringing guys in. Middle linebackers and stuff like that, we'd never be on the same page.
Yeah. See, I think, we're talking about building for the Commanders. And when I look at Philly, I say they did a great job, round 1, hiring the right guy, good leader. And then they had 2 excellent coordinators, excellent defensive coordinator, excellent offensive coordinator. And I think it just shows you, Tana's been saying this since the beginning of the show. Who are the coaches? How do they get that message across? How do they build your culture? And then if you are the head coach, what is your plan for when you win a bunch of games to having someone that can step in right away and make sure
you always got to be prepping
100%.
The next one.
100%.
You always got to be prepping.
And I think, who does an excellent job of that?
Shanahan.
San Fran. Took the words right out of my mouth. Every time
we talk about good stuff, you bring up Shanahan.
Yeah. Well, they're a good model.
Who's the best coach you ever had? Shanahan.
You know who else does a good job of it, though? You know who else does a good job of it?
Who?
Detroit. They're not Detroit. The Baltimore, excuse me.
No, Baltimore does a great job of it.
Yeah, so they do a good job of it. And then I think when you look at Dallas, right, which I agree with everything you said. They got flat, too many changes, wasn't the right thing. Culture was getting crazy. I think that's really closely tied to the position coaches. When you look at Dallas, I say when you're building a team, what can you take away from that colossal collapse, especially on offense? They were too reliant on two players.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott.
That's it.
You got to be able to do different stuff. You look at LA, they're in a little bit of a bind there in the third quarter. They run the ball, right? You look at Detroit, in a little bit of a bind. We're going to hit we'll run the ball. We're going to lean on different playmakers, hit on Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit more. And I think that, when I look at that, they were too reliant on that, too reliant on the defense, and it came back to bite them in the ass.
What happens when they make you go somewhere else? That's always the question on defense. Like, what happens when we take him away from you by any means necessary? They had nothing to lean on.
Yeah.
Ferguson played well.
No, he did, but later.
Dallas put too much on film defensively where they couldn't just stop. They couldn't stop the run. So this is a copycat world and league.
Yeah.
And that's what teams did. Teams, okay, they can't stop the run, we're going to run at them. And not only did they run at them, they kind of took the guys out. Yeah, they you know how they say the bully can get bullied?
Yeah.
Dallas got bullied.
Well, they were built like the Colts with Peyton Manning. They was built to be front runners. They built to pass rush. They built to play with a lead, 14-point lead. Now you put them in tight games and run at them. You run at pass rushes. Yeah. Like I played on the side with Bruce Smith. We got toss sweeps all day because people knew that Bruce was a pass rusher. Right. So at the end of the day, how is your team built? That's your outcome. Now you play in the playoffs. The games get a little tighter. You need a little bit more. So you're not physical on defense, far as run stopping, and you can't run the ball on offense. You cannot go to the Super Bowl.
And they was a little cocky. You know,
a lot cocky. They the Cowboys.
They came in that game thinking that, Green Bay has been struggling. We got these guys. I mean,
they said Green Bay was young because they the youngest team ever.
I'm just saying, as far as what you saw from Green Bay defense the last few weeks, everybody thought that they can just throw all over the field when it came to Green Bay defense. They weren't stopping nothing. You know what I mean? They weren't stopping a nosebleed. So I just feel like Dallas came in there. You heard the kind of comments from Michael Parsons saying, I'm going to play phenomenal. I'm playing phenomenal this weekend.
I had 2 tackles.
And that's what I'm saying. So he thought he was going to go out there and shine.
They ran it.
And you got to have that kind of mindset, but that's just being too cocky, man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Green Bay, to that point, they got a lot of young playmakers. They developed a lot of young pieces. And again, go back.
This team since the 50s.
Tan has been crushing this all day. Yeah. But get the coaches in place. I don't care how good of a talent evaluator you are. Yeah. Every piece, you do a lot of draft work. We all do a lot of draft work. There's a projection to the NFL. Mm-hmm. Can my coaches accommodate that projection? Right? Can they help that guy reach his potential?
And can they make him better day by day?
And I think when you look at Green Bay, look at Jordan Love, look at his development this year. Yeah. Look at the receivers, look at the running backs, look at the young defense. Great job by them developing that product. And that's why, again.
But that's what Green Bay does. No, like they have a formula to how they get guys. And let's talk about
former Kyle Shanahan guy.
That's what I'm saying. So Aaron Rodgers was there. So now it was a mix of what Aaron liked to do and what the play caller like to do. Yeah. With Jordan Love, it's all, here go my offense. Yeah. You go run my offense. That's what his offense looks like.
And I think it also shows you how important it is to find that guy. Because like early on in that game, Jordan Love extends the play a little bit, right? He gets those rushers off their spot. It should have been a sack, gets out there, ends up being a first down, does that twice. Yeah. Like, so having the playmaker back there, so important. And so again, like I think it just good examples of team building, all this stuff that we've been talking about. Yeah. You can see it in these games.
Yep. Yeah.
Next game is Miami struggles in the cold weather, missing 6 defensive starters.
They lost when the plane took off.
Hey,
yeah, no, it was gonna be tough.
Out of water.
Hey, listen, when I seen how cold, I seen somebody open a freezer, take a bottle of water out, hold it in the air, and it just froze.
Yeah,
son. Nobody should be playing in that weather.
No part of that.
I don't want no part of that. And then I can say this about Miami too. They just got injured at the wrong time.
Yeah, that's true.
They started getting beat up and beat up. Lost both of their pass rushers. Yeah. They just got to a point where fatigue wore them out. Mm-hmm. Like now they get to go back and say, you know what? What are we missing on this team? You need some cold weather guys. You need a couple of Wisconsin guys on that team.
They was already built for finesse, and to now come into the postseason with those guys that help you be who you were the whole season when you really needed them not to be there, then it was just they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough, support. And when you got both of your DNs are gone.
Yeah. I mean, pass rush is gone.
Yeah, pass rush is gone. Offensively, we do a couple of things well.
Yeah.
We run the ball well, and we find Tyreek. and Tyreek get everything else going. When I saw Snead and them boys attacking Tyreek, I said it's gonna be a long day for these boys.
First of all, what I do know, you'll never catch nobody breakdancing in the snow. This team was made to breakdance. All right, they were speed personified.
Yeah.
When you got to go up and just blow for blow in the phone booth, they not built like that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's what they gonna have to say. You know what? We're gonna have to get a little bit more physical. All right, you know, even though speed is our thing, we're gonna have to get some more. We gotta get physical.
So Daniel Jeremiah on his Move the Sticks podcast have cited this elsewhere. So I'm gonna give you 2 records. One is 2-5. That's Peyton Manning's record in the playoffs. Okay, 2 wins, 5 losses. Drew Brees 3-5. Right. Both dome teams, and when they had to go on the road to New England or wherever they had to go, they'd lose the game. This team, Miami, is built much in the same way. High timing, high precision passing game. Does not do well in 30-mile-an-hour winds.
We need it to be pretty. Right? So this is what they got to do. We got to win a division, and we got to get all home guys.
And I think that's the thing is like Daniel Jeremiah brought this up. So great point by Fred, great point by him. They should have beat the Bills the week before. Because if they beat the Bills, they're playing that game in Miami, and it's hot down there. And everyone's happy. So I know everyone wants to freak out about that, but I think, again, injuries, losing that game to the Bills, like they weren't built for that game. They're not built for that game, but that doesn't mean they can't do it. Just means they got to do it in a different way than playing on the road. All right, and this was a lot of fun to watch, I thought. And it's a head coaching candidate, and Bobby Slowick is the Texans balling versus Cleveland, best defense in the NFL, one of the best defenses in the NFL. And, Joe Flacco struggled a little bit. What'd you take from that game?
Stroud, man. I mean, phenomenal, bro. You talking about precision passes. Offensive, the way they call the offense, when I heard that, we had already knew that Bobby was the OC, but just knowing the tree he comes from, I'm saying to myself, like, seemed like every guy that been under that umbrella has really touched the team and just kind of like gave them something that they don't even know what they have, and to see where they was at earlier in the season to see where they at now, their trajectory is up. They're scary. I would be scared because the first thing I said, I was working out. What day that was Saturday, right? Saturday I was in the gym doing my shoulder workout. So on the phone, a friend of mine was asking me where I'm going to see the game. I said I was going to meet up with Fred them later, and I was like, you know what, man? A month ago, the Browns just killed the Texans. I say, but you know what? This is finna be a measurement right now for D'Amico as a head coach and a defensive-minded guy to see how this defense come and attack these guys now. And when I saw him they pinned their ears back and got after Flacco. When I saw Flacco backing up, I said, it's going to be a long day for him because he don't want to be backing up. Flacco,
he want to step into
it, get that thing out of the field. And when I saw them running back, I said, yep. D'Amico came in there with a different mindset, different game plan. Said, "Man, we finna sick them dogs at you, and let's see if you can get away."
I'm gonna tell you when I knew the Browns had law. When they walked on the field, and I saw Stroud over there looking like a 2023 Mercedes, and Flacco looking like a 1985 Dodge pickup. Like when I seen Flacco have helmet button, I played against that dude. Like that showed the age in it. Stroud looked new. He was seeing it out of new eyes. I'm doing new things with Slocum. It was exciting. Houston was lit as a team. Browns, another team that just got beat up. They lost starting quarterback, starting running back.
Their offensive lineman. They were on their 6th offensive tackle.
Christian, one of our guys was over there starting for them and playing well. So between Miami and Cleveland, I know they got to feel like we didn't really see our team in the playoffs. Like, I know they got to feel a little bit cheap.
I bet Cleveland, feels that way quite a bit. But shout out to Laramie Tunsil, left tackle for Houston.
That's my guy, Ole Miss guy.
Locked down. Myles Garrett really did a great job with that. Also,
that was surprising.
From Houston, Tanner, you mentioned the scheme. Obviously, the scheme was huge in that game. That West Coast play-action heavy scheme. But also Stroud, he's different, man. He's a special young player.
I said he wasn't no average Ohio State quarterback. He got a black eye for going to Ohio.
And you were right. And I think
like none of them dudes.
And I think when you look at that, like the first 2 explosive plays they have, one is a slant takeoff. There's a free runner. He gets hit as he's throwing it to Nico Collins. Big play.
Touch.
Play action pass, right? Free dude right down the pipe.
Don't care.
Over the top. Ends up being an explosive play. And I said, man, like that's special. His ability to move around the pocket, make some plays. Awesome job. So, and the other thing I just want to point out too is they developed the right pieces at the right time. And that roster was bad last year. That roster was bad. They went out, they signed Dalton Schultz, the tight end, has a pretty good game.
And they got the kid Jordan from Miami that they drafted, number 9, the fast kid.
Yeah, and he's coming along. Nico Collins, I mean, he looks like a true one. They drafted him in the fourth round because he had one traits,
years ago.
and he became that guy.
But Tank Dell was hurt, and he is that dude,
right?
Which I told you before the draft.
No, I think we both liked Tank Dell quite a bit. We weren't sure how he'd hold up physically. He's hurt, but
listen,
he's a good football player.
He set the league on fire.
Yeah. And so that's a great question by our producer, Jason. You're just on fire right now, buddy. Yeah, we got it. But so again, what we're talking about here, a very strong identity from one team, staying healthy, another thing, and then young guys developing into key players, guys you draft that weren't ready 2 years ago, but are that guy now, I think is super important. And then I think the Lions-Rams, like that game was so fun to watch.
It was so good. It had so many storylines. You traded me for him, and you won the Super Bowl, and now we come back and we kick your. It's just so many back and forth. I wasn't good enough for you at the time. Now, it was like I really enjoyed the storylines with that story.
You know, being a watcher of that game, I was torn because I wanted, I root for the people I know. So I'm rooting with the Rams as far as just off of Sean McVay. You know, the guys I know that Tutu Atwater. He's a Miami kid, born and raised down there. And then not only that, now you look at the flip side of it, you say, I've always been a Stafford fan. I love what he's been doing. I love the fact that he showed and proved to everybody that he was that caliber quarterback that can win the Super Bowl.
Caliber.
And then you see Goff, but just his story, and then just Detroit as a whole.
Yeah, the underdog. The city they gave up on.
It's been so long for this franchise to be where they was at. The atmosphere at that stadium, I would have loved
so loud
to be in that stadium, having me what you call them,
a cold beverage?
Not a cold beverage. We're talking about hot dogs. Having me a glizzy. Having me a glizzy.
Ketchup and mustard, please.
Ketchup, mustard, and lettuce, please. Having me a glizzy and somebody sweet. Watching that game, I would have loved to have been in that stadium. But it was rocking, and they gave us something good to watch, because it wasn't just one of those games where it was like, okay, we just dominate. It was back and forth. And it was going to be the last team who scored, and Detroit held on.
Hey, and Detroit young, and so this is just the start for them.
Also, the thing that sticks out to me is Detroit is uber talented. I know we want to give Ben Johnson his flowers, but they got excellent offensive line play. They got 2 good backs. The receivers are
tight
good.
end. Laporta is
they're playing good football. And I look at LA, and they had the youngest roster preseasons because they had 28 undrafted free agents available. And for them to kind of, again, they got a young running back playing well. They got a young receiver who's playing really well. They found some pieces on the O-line. Matt Stafford's doing Matt Stafford stuff. But I think that's, again, like looking about roadmaps, right? You got to have guys, Tana, like this is the point that Tana made, developing young talent to make a quick turnaround. That's what you saw with LA. And again, it was a great game. They couldn't get it done in the red zone. I think that was the other thing that stuck out to me. Couldn't score in the red zone, able to move the ball, find explosive plays, really well executed offensive game plans. But of these teams, anybody you see making the Super Bowl potentially?
Talk about the Lions of the Rams?
No, of the teams that we just talked about. So it would be Green Bay, Houston, Detroit, and then Kansas City.
No, Kansas City, I think finally, now that Pat Mahomes got to go play his first road playoff game, can y'all believe this? Out of all the playoff games he played, this will be his first road playoff game.
Well, the Super Bowl is a road game.
No, it's neutral site.
I mean, it's neutral site, but just because you home don't mean it ain't a road game.
No, this is his first time, and he got to go to Buffalo. Now, I know they just played in 10 below, but I think this is the time that he finally ones up Pat.
Josh?
I think Josh finally gets it. I think he finally gets his revenge.
That'd be cool to see that for sure. I don't know, man. I really like the way Houston's playing. I don't think they get past Baltimore.
No, they don't.
I really like the way Detroit's playing. I don't think they get by. So they're playing. They're not playing San Fran. Who are they playing? San Fran's playing Green Bay.
Texas.
No. Playing
San Fran's playing Green Bay.
Yeah.
Detroit playing the Texans.
They're playing the Texans. No, Texans playing.
No,
they're playing Baltimore.
No, I'm tripping. Texas playing in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Detroit playing. We just said it before the damn.
All that CTE, man. Coming back.
It happens.
Yeah. To the best of us.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think Detroit's playing good ball. I don't know if they win that matchup. But yeah, so a lot of fun teams, but I think there's a reason those other teams are in that.
Detroit playing the Bucks, right?
Are they? No.
Somebody got to play the Bucks.
San
Here we go.
San
Jason's
Fran.
looking it up. Our
San
fearless
Fran
producer.
playing who? San Fran playing
Green Bay.
Green Bay. So Detroit play the Bucks.
Yep, Detroit got to play the Bucks.
Detroit play
They
the
both
Bucks.
played in the first round, though. Don't you have a bye?
No, the only one team had a bye.
They playing
Texans at Ravens.
Yes. Texans at
We
Ravens.
knew that.
Packers at 49ers.
Packers at 49ers.
That we said.
Bucks at Lions.
Oh. Chiefs at Bills. Okay. Tana was right. Good job, Tana.
Oh, that's it.
So, yeah, I think dude, they might win that game.
Who?
Detroit? But they'll beat
Detroit
Tampa.
beat the Bucks, but are they gonna beat the Niners?
No, probably not.
I'm just saying they ain't gonna beat the Niners.
Yeah, all right, so that's it.
I'm
And
putting them past them. If they beat the Bucks, I'm putting them
but
past them.
can you see the Lions in the NFC Championship? How big is that, dude?
Dude, that'd be huge.
Like, I enjoy seeing Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
I enjoy
Calvin
seeing
Johnson was there?
Megatron.
Megatron.
You got Eminem. You got
Eminem.
Big Sean. Like, you got Detroit just stand up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jalen Rose, Chris Webber. It's like, it's one of them soulful places that a lot of roots there.
Yeah.
And they got some great sports teams, but they're a football city. Don't
Yeah.
ever get it twisted. So it's just good to see them get their just due after this time. That's why I tell our fans, don't be doing all that nagging.
Totally
When
agree.
Detroit fans been in the dark place for 75 years,
Exactly.
and Browns fans ain't never taste victory. Come on, calm down.
Yeah. But I'm really excited again because each opportunity, like over the course of the playoffs, is an opportunity to see how good teams are made and what they're doing well. And so can't wait to watch some more playoff football this weekend. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining, and make sure you guys tune in next week because we're doing some free agency stuff, some draft stuff, and we'll get all those conversations started then. All right, thanks.
Peace and hair grease. We are brought to you by Bet365. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. That's why we offer an in-game experience which covers over 78 sports and over 780,000 live streams to 90 million customers worldwide. Our online betting brand is powered by a world-class proprietary product and over 7,000 employees across the globe. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, the official sporting betting partner of your Washington Commanders. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Virginia. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.